All right, all right. So, the agenda of the corn industry. Please give me a listening ear. The agenda of the corn industry. I hope you heard the word I used. I said the corn industry. The industry that is responsible for showing images, for showing videos that are not supposed to be seen, arts which are supposed to be intimate. The agenda of them is to make money. They want to loot many people, especially men, of their resources and their finances, because they will make sure that they continue to bring new styles and skills, compelling images on your screens. In fact, I'm very happy that YouTube do not allow these kinds of videos on their platform. So these men and people who watches these images, they get addicted. Then they have to buy subscriptions, special subscriptions, so that they can watch more intense forms of these animations to gratify their desires. And they make billions. These industries make billions. They loot money from the many. So as you are addicted, you cannot stop it than to go and pay more and watch. You pay more than you watch. Now, it will get to a time the addiction becomes so strong that even when you watch the most advanced and most wicked forms, you are still never satisfied. Then you start thinking about finding other means to stimulate yourself. That is when the drugs come in. Then you begin to do drugs. Then the alcohol and all that kind of things follows. You feel you are enjoying yourself. You feel you are getting the pleasure from life. But eventually, where do all these activities lead to? It leads to all kinds of health complications that you need to spend a lot to get yourself into normalcy. Then, those who are fortunate, they find health homes, rehabilitation centers to get back into themselves. But many times, not all people can find this means to be healed from these addictions. And then it continues. Then the social vices begins to skyrocket. Things don't become as it's supposed to be in the society. These are the schemes of these industries, because they need the money They need to make a lot of money to maintain power wherever they find themselves. We have to be careful and not fall victims to these schemes of these cunning men and people and industries. Now, the patriotic system, the rulers of the world are aware of all these, the world systems. They know all about all this happening. Yet, they seem to be in support. In fact, I can say boldly that they are in support. Because if all these things are happening, yet there are no ways to cut them down, yet they continue to operate, then that means that the patriotic system, the systems of the world, are in support of it. You see, you have to understand what power is. Those who hold power want to continue to be in power. They don't want to lose. They don't want a situation where that privilege, the power they enjoy, will fall out of their hands. Therefore, they will do everything possible. Then I began to think that, this is the reason why the authority figures, those who hold power in the world's largest organizations, don't have a say, than rather to be in support. Because at the end of the day, they have to dominate. They have to still be on top. People have to be under them. Because when they make their policies and when they bring their suggestions on board, their machinations, there shouldn't be anybody to challenge them. They want people who are weak, the weaklings. They want the weak people in the society so that they can continue to dominate them and rule them. So as these people keep watching all these animations and images, they get weak mentally. They don't have the strength to fight or protest. They can't stand on their feet to fight the system. Whatever the system tells them is what they will do. There is no strong foundation because their foundations are shaken and loosed. This is what the patriotic system is making of the majority of people in the world. Now, there is another reason also why these animations coming from the corn industries cannot be removed from our system. And one of it is that these authority figures who are in support of this, they want to reduce the social, the moral values, the moral standards in the society. They want to get rid of the moral standards. They want to lower the moral standards. Because all this is part of their machinations to still be in control. It is one of their agendas. So they won't stop all this corn industries to stop operations, because apart from the fact that they want to dominate, they also make money from these corn industries. Therefore, why would they want them to stop operation? And the last point that I just said is because when this happens, one of the effects is that which they want is that the moral standards of the society will be lowered. Then when the moral standards of the society is lowered, then the religious organizations will not have any power to make a positive effect in the society. So, spirituality will not be anything that many will seek for. Many wouldn't want to seek ways to raise their vibrations from the lower level to the higher level, because all that they want is carnal, is fleshly. They want to enjoy the pleasures of the world and not think about anything else. The deep love for the spiritual things of life, nature, is lost and will be lost as these industries continue to operate. Now, people will no longer want to have intimate relationships, because after all, when he goes to the website, he's gonna get it free, which is totally wrong, because we are social beings and we need to behave as such. It is not designed by nature that our life force should be wasted on just watching animations. That is not the desire of nature. But because these people are so greedy and they don't think about how this can go a long way to cause distraction to the world, because they don't care, because they are driven just to make profit, just to make money, so they don't think about any of these things. And it is a great problem which is facing the world at large. Now, we have to come to understand all this and become conscious, because the only way out is consciousness. We have to be conscious and take proactive steps to overcome this. If not so, a time will come that the world will be in such a way that even the young ones, very young ones, even the teens, will get indulged in so much of carnalities, and which will lead a long way to destroy their mentality, and that the world will come to a point where nothing seems to be nothing, because the standards of the society have been lowered to the lowest degree. A spirituality which has been the ways of our ancestors will be lost. Then the peace which we need to enjoy coming down deep from our heart, the joy of living, of appreciation of life and nature, will no longer be there. Then, what will be the use? What will be the essence? What will be the joy of being born. It is about time that we come to our consciousness and fight to make things come into righteousness and normalcy. This is the message I preach. And this is one of the reasons that I support the preservation of the life force. Because when we are conscious that all these things can cause decay in our system and make us dull, and make the system to overcome us, that we cannot live and find joy and find happiness and find fulfillment. Because when we continue like this, we can't find fulfillment. And it is for this reason that I am bringing out this message, so that somebody's heart can be touched and start making the change. Because the change starts from me, it starts from you. Then our generations to come will also benefit. And as our generations also carry the message of righteousness, it will flow, it will spread like fire and cause a huge light to cover and bright the whole of the world. And life will be a better place to live in. This, I live with you. Peace be with you. More love.